lads, my name is May and this is my fountain pen ink collection. Just a disclaimer before we begin, I am by no means an expert in any of this stuff. However, I do really like colours and so I have some really fun ones to show you today. To sample my inks, I used a glass pen that my parents got me for my birthday. I think it was from Wish. I've never used one before. I was quite scared it was going to be too fragile and fiddly, but it was quite the opposite actually, and it ended up writing really nicely. And then for paper, if you're bothered, I'm just using my journal. I'm not sure what brand it is or who made it, but the paper quality is really good for some reason. Even Sharpies don't bleed through it, so I thought it would be a good paper to test all of my ink on. So I have 4 Diamine inks to show you today, and the first one is pink. I have a love-hate relationship with Diamine. I'm not too experienced, but from what I have experienced, I haven't been the biggest fan. I only have one fountain pen, which is my Pilot Metropolitan, and using Diamine with that, it just doesn't work for me. I just find that the ink doesn't flow very nicely, and so my writing becomes quite dry and scratchy. My boyfriend says he quite likes the writing combination, but for me, I just don't like it. But I did think it was more of a fountain pen problem than an ink problem, and I was right. With the glass pen, the Diamine ink flows really, really nicely. It was a lot more wet, which I tend to prefer, and it just wrote a lot more nicely. Next we have Diamine's Marigold, which is probably my favourite Diamine ink that I've personally tried. For me, as someone with not very much experience with the inks, they all tend to write pretty similarly for me. The swatch tends to be a lot lighter than when you write with it, which is often hard to judge sometimes, but I also do like the variation in colour. I think it's quite cool. My next ink is Diamine's Bow Blue, which is actually my least favourite ink from them that I've tried. I don't know if you could see, but the swatch was really grainy, and then when it came to writing, it was just so much darker than the colour on the bottle. Again, this could just be a personal use problem or just a personal preference, but it just doesn't really work for me. It writes really lightly in my Metropolitan, but it's just not worth it because when it's in my Metropolitan, it's again quite dry and scratchy. And then my last Diamine ink is my Sunshine Yellow, which is very similar to the Marigold. Like the blue, it comes out really lightly in my Metropolitan, but it's to the point where you can't really see it. But with the glass pen, again, it just came out so much nicer, and I really liked seeing the different nuances in the colour. So this last ink is my pride and joy. It is my Shinryoku Forest Green from Pilot's Iroshizuku range. The black one in this range was the first one I ever used, and so I knew I wanted the same one because I was looking for a new journaling ink. And that's what I do. I use this ink every day to journal and it is absolutely perfect. It's my Maymoth's Forest Green. I feel like it's the colour of my soul. The swatch looks a lot more warm and it tends to write a lot darker than that. And as you can see, it's a much more wet ink. So it's very splotchy and difficult and awkward with the glass pen, but when it's in my Metropolitan, it writes really, really nicely. So there we go. There's my ink collection. I'm not looking to expand on it anytime soon. I'm still quite the amateur. Next time, I'm looking forward to showcasing and ruthlessly bullying my boyfriend's ink collection, if you'd like to stick around for that. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed this video. Everything you need will be linked downstairs alongside the educational article I read for this video. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.